You're watching HCAM TV.
Good afternoon, Hopkinton, and welcome to the Monday, November 30th edition of the Hangout Hour, which I believe will be the last Hangout Hour in November, because today is the last day of November. So after this, we're into the last month of 2020. Thank you so much for spending the time with us today. Today we have two half-hour segments for you. The first is Ask the Chief, which Chief Bennett is here. And our second half hour will be Meet the Freedom team, which is a really interesting new team that's happening in Hopkinton. So I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving and a long weekend, and I welcome you back. And Chief, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here, Jim. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving weekend and you got to enjoy the weather we had.
Yes,
a lot of people did.
It was very quiet. However, I am so grateful that a vaccine is in the pipeline, so we know that we're having a very small and very distant holiday season this year, but it should only be one. Then by 2021, we will be back to normal.
Whatever that is, Jim. Looking forward to seeing what that is.
I know, me too. All right, so and I hope that you also enjoyed the time.
I did. It was small and quiet, but it was very enjoyable.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. So I am really happy. I am really happy and grateful that when we asked you about coming on the show and doing segments where it's Ask the Chief and kind of get updates and talk about what's happening, you not only said absolutely, you said you would be up for a regularly scheduled segment. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I think it's important for people to hear from the police chief and to be able to ask questions and learn about their police department.
I agree. You know, there's a lot going on in the world today on many different fronts, and I think that you guys perform a very important service to our community and to our society. So it is great to be able to talk about that. So just so people know, we are targeting the last Friday of every month. We will have a Ask the Police Chief segment. So Chief, actually the first thing that I'm interested in is how is it going? Because you just become chief fairly recently.
Yeah, it was great. I became chief in April, during the pandemic, and then moved into our summer, which brought a lot of attention on law enforcement and the roles and responsibilities. But Jim, I can tell you that through hundreds of conversations, I sit before you with a lot of pride in this organization, a lot of pride for the hard work that the chiefs before me and those men and women that have moved on and retired and the men and women that are still here have accomplished. We're not playing catch up. We're way ahead of the game, and these issues are not new to us, and we've addressed them. So proud to be here, proud to be your chief. Excellent.
That's great. And it's really nice that you mentioned that, because I say that all the time. Hopkinton is such a great place to live. And in a lot of my contacts, I deal with nonprofit community groups, and they do a lot just lifting our community. Just last week we had on the HPTO, and they do amazing work along with many other ones. However, there are also town institutions, police department, the fire department, DPW, town hall, and not only do all of you contribute to this wonderful place that we live, but you're also, forgive me, you're also great people. I talk to you all, and you're very approachable, and you're very happy to talk about what you do, and you do really amazing things for the community. So that out of the way, let me just say, I'm just curious, how long have you been involved in the police department here in Hopkinton?
So I came here in July of 1993, so this is my 27th year, and it's been a great experience for me. I was given a lot of opportunity. I had great mentors and leaders to learn from. Uh, we have a fantastic training program here in the department, and I owe my success, and most of us do, to just being such a progressive organization and valuing people. Really, we are a caring department, and we look out for each other and care for each other. We care for the community. Uh, you know, it's just a great place to work. It's been nothing but my pleasure, my honor.
You know what? I just have to say that July 1993 was a great month, and not just because that was the month I got married. I just think it was a great month.
But considering I had two children and no job, I was really excited to start work here. After going through the police academy on my own and had no income for 4 months, so
Wow.
very excited.
Yeah, yeah. Now, you know what? You've used the word progressive and you've used the word community. So I would like to just let's get into that for a couple minutes and talk about it. I know you were on a show recently and I saw you talking with one of the people that you work with. And I can't remember what her title is.
Was it Ashley?
Yes.
So, yep, Ashley is she's part of our jail diversion program, and she's a master's level clinician, which means she has a master's degree, and she's amazing.
Okay. So, and how long has her position existed?
So we're in our 5th year with that program. That program comes from a partnership with Ashland, Sherburne, and Holliston, and is funded through a grant. So the cost to our community here is very minimal. And we're in our 5th year, and it's just amazing to watch what that program has done for the community, for the officers, and for the family and the support system and structure for the people that go through crisis.
I think that with what she does and with what that position is for 5 years, really, that is really ahead of the curve and really predicting some of the social conflict that's been happening in today's world right now. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, I've sat on some panels with some major cities. They're looking at this model as something that's going to really end up going throughout the country and probably beyond. But we have data. We collect data every month on diversions from the hospital when we're able to keep the person in the community, and the numbers are there, and the numbers support it, that there is a valuable need for it.
Right. Yeah. It's, in what I've been reading in the past few months, it's really amazing that as time has gone on over the past several decades, when there has been a need in the community, oftentimes the answer has been send the police to handle that situation and to figure that out. And it just seems to me that the number of different things that all of you would have to be trained to do is really kind of unreasonable. And having people on staff like Ashley really brings a new dimension to your force and to your department that maybe that you wouldn't have some other way.
Absolutely. It also gives us the education and the training that we need to better handle the calls when she's not there. I mean, we don't have 24/7 partnership with the clinician. That would be great. I'd love to have one embedded on every shift. But the fact of the matter is, there's a cost with it, and the town has supported wellness in the community. I know that Youth and Family Services saw a big increase in their budget and growth in staff. But what most impresses me is the way that working with Ashley side by side with the clinician and the clinicians that were here before her, it really taught something you can't teach in an academy. That the way you communicate with someone in crisis that is used to they might have a mental health history and they're used to being spoken to in a certain way. and certain questions that are appropriate and maybe others that aren't. And the officers learn that by watching, and then they actually do it, and they feel more comfortable, and they're not resorting to the things on their gun belts like their handcuffs, and they're able to de-escalate the situation better, evaluate the situation better, write better reports to support the doctors who might need to evaluate them at the hospital if Ashley's not there. So it really has, it's a complete paradigm shift in the way we handle substance abuse and mental health problems. It really is. I could go on for hours about this, but it's the most exciting thing really in the industry.
I think it's amazing myself, and I'd love to have you go on for hours about it, because I think that this is a whole new facet of the work that you do that is very much under a microscope currently. And to see that, you know, this has been going on in our community for 5 years, working to help this situation and divert people from going to jail. I think it's great. I think it's really great. Now, I do have a couple questions are here, so I'd like to jump into some of them, and then we can chat more if we have time.
No, that's great.
All right, so here's an interesting one. Scams and fraud cases, are they increasing during the holidays, and what are you seeing?
So the unemployment scam is, we're getting 6 to 10 of those a day. And we're learning that, and it was on the news, that they're being they're coming out of the jails. The prisoners are requesting unemployment benefits fraudulently. Most of those don't result in any payout, because the employer gets contacted, and as a result, it gets declined. We've had people here that have almost been victims, and people in my family have almost been victims, but we don't see money going out. What I would caution everybody right now about scams is a lot of Facebook stuff and the exchange and open market type stuff. To be very careful. I just read a report before I clicked on this. Someone sent an item to the buyer without getting paid, and then now the buyer's nowhere to be found. Another big thing is, when you're going to do an in-person exchange, I welcome you to come down to the police station here. We have spaces out front. One of them actually designated as a safe exchange zone, where you can come down. You're on camera. It's not likely someone's going to try to rob you in a police station parking lot, and and we will catch them if they do try.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely be careful.
Well, yes. I want to give a shout out to my mom. I'm so proud of my mom. So Chief, this last weekend, she's telling me she got a phone call, says it's her grandson. He's got a cold, so it sounds a little different. He was in an accident, and he's at the police station and needs her to wire her some money. And my mom said, "Oh, really? Okay, but what's your birthday?" Boom, he hung up the phone. That was
good for her. I want to give her a big trophy. Yeah, I mean, those grandparent scams are terrible. They prey on, the grandparents' willingness to support. We see that a lot around spring break, where the student gets arrested allegedly and needs money for bail. Probably the most complex one we saw was, they said that there was an active FBI case against a woman, and she had to pay off the victim, unless the case was going to go forward. Police agencies don't negotiate deals with victims and criminals. We don't exchange money amongst people. It's the same thing with the IRS. The IRS will never call you. They will never call you.
And also too, I just hope that people can understand that this is not them. When somebody gets called, and if they fall prey to a scam, it's not a shameful thing. I've read stories about where they get embarrassed about it, and it goes on longer. And it can happen to anybody, and there's no shame in that. And
no.
The sooner that they can ask for help, the sooner they can get it.
Well, there's tactics to it, right? There's always going to be a sense of urgency that needs you to act quickly, and before you can gather your thoughts or reach out to someone, they'll try to isolate you. Say, don't call anybody, and it comes at them very fast, and they don't really have a chance to truly evaluate it, even though a lot of times they do feel this doesn't sound right, but they're very manipulative, and they know how to control people on the phone.
Yeah.
You know, and if 1 out of 100 works,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
it's
right.
very lucrative.
Okay. No.
Very lucrative. So.
All right. Moving on to the next question. Somebody's asking if you can talk a little bit about the Toys for Tots, what's happening with that. And as you think about that, Mike has a picture he's going to be sharing with us. So go ahead, Chief.
Be great. So Toys for Tots is a really exciting program that the Marine Corps works. There you go.
Yeah.
That box is full. Almost every other day that box gets full. We as I said, we're a caring department, and we kind of mirror the caringness of our community. There's a lot of very generous people in our community, and that box gets filled, and it'll be overflowing. Sometimes the dispatchers have to call Mike to come down and empty it, and he's always there. It's a great program. We're here. We'll come in. You can fill up our whole lobby with it. We'll take care of it.
That's where the box is, in your lobby.
In the lobby, you can come right in, drop the stuff off, and wave to the dispatcher, and say hello if you want, and glad to have you.
That's great. That's really great. And new toys, unwrapped. Do you know how long it's going for?
Yeah, they're looking for new toys. Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Police logs report a lot of gunfire in town lately. You know about that?
So, you know, depending on the weather, atmospheric conditions, the gunshots from our gun clubs can travel. We have 3 gun clubs in town, and 2 of them are very, very active. I've only almost always, when you hear where the call is from, you know which gun club it is. But we have very good history of safety in the community as far as shoot gun clubs and as far as hunting. So please do call. We want every call. By the nature of your department that has been built for you, we want you to call for anything, because we are a service department. We just assume you went back to enjoying your life, and we went and checked the area, and you know you're safe, and everybody knows you're safe. So no matter what it is, always call.
Let me ask you about that. So there are a few gun clubs in town. Are those at specific locations, or do they have like, I don't know, do they have like meets where they can meet in different areas, or is it always in a designated spot?
Sure. So we have one on Lumber Street, the Sportsman's Club, the Southborough Fish and Game, or Rod and Gun Fish and Game, I think it is down on the town line on this side of the river. And the Sportsman, the Woodville Rod and Gun is down on Route 135. And their ranges are open various times, but usually it's like sun up to sundown. I know that the Sportsman's Club and the Southborough Club do some nighttime trap and skeet shooting, where they light it up and they shoot at night. But you know, the sound travels. So you know, what's more odd when you hear like one shot at night, you might hear someone that is hunting at night and taking the game animal at night, which is legal for certain species.
So I don't know this. Where can people hunt in town?
So anywhere that's not posted. The Fruit Street fields are posted, so you can't hunt down on that property. But you know, there's let's say you own 30 acres. Unless you posted, a hunter could come onto your land and hunt. So if that's something that you're opposed to, then you need to just let them know, so they can stay away. Wow. And then there's distances to the home. You have to be 500 feet from a home dwelling when you discharge your firearm, and distance from the road. There's a lot of regulations that they fall under as well. Right.
And I assume there's a season for that?
There is. And actually, we're moving into the busiest season where you're going to see trucks of people, not to be stereotypical, most likely trucks. They could be cars, but, is Monday morning. Today, actually, is the opening of deer season. So you're going to see people out there in the early morning parked on the side of the road and coming out hopefully wearing their orange clothing. And while they're out there, I would recommend anybody that goes out into the woods to wear bright clothing to make it safe. A lot of hunters hunt from stands, which is probably the safest practice, but other hunters do work from the ground. And, you know, we're all safer if we're bright when we're bright clothes out in the woods.
Right. So I'm just curious about this. If a hunter can walk around and hunt anywhere as long as it's not posted, what do they do? What do they know so that they're not shooting towards a housing development or something like that?
Sure. So there's a few things that go into that. Every person that discharges a firearm should expect to know what's behind what they're shooting at, and should be shooting in a manner that is safe. So the other thing that goes with that is we're a shotgun hunting state, which the range of a shotgun is a fraction of a rifle. So that bullet will hit the ground and, you know, some number of hundreds of yards, whereas a rifle can travel, you know, accurately out 600, 800 yards, high-powered rifle. So the shotgun does make it safer. But that being said, there's a lot of responsibility on the hunter to ensure that when they take that shot, that there's nothing behind the animal that they're trying to harvest.
Right. Okay. All right. Moving on. There's a question about a parking ban in town.
Yep. So we have a winter parking ban to help the highway department starting in November 15th. And I'm remembering that I haven't actually written a parking ticket in a long time, but I'm pretty sure it's November 15th. And so no overnight parking on the roadways. And then what that does is it allows the town to clean the roads and not have to go around your car and leave that mess when the person pulls out. People in town are very good about it. The officers will give out warnings in the beginning just to educate the public, and then they will write tickets. But we'd rather just people become educated, and we don't like writing residents parking tickets in front of their houses.
So I'm just now, is that a significant issue in our community? I can understand in Boston where there's very little parking and everybody is all that stuff there. But in our community where we're much more rural, is there an issue with that, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same question that could be applied to a lot of different things, right? The expectation placed on the highway department is that the roads will be clear. There's a very high expectation of care for the roadways. And in order for them to do that, they need the support of the residents and not park on the road.
Right. And I think the most important thing is to know. I was really surprised this year when that freak snowstorm came. I had no idea. I got to check the weather more often so I know what's coming.
I'm gonna set an alert on my phone or something, right? They must have something for that.
You can do that, right, Chief? You want to send out some kind of contact that comes to all of us.
I'll look at that. Sounds like an emergency management group type of message.
Okay. Now, this next one, I don't think is a question, but I think is somebody who may have been involved in looking for just a little discussion of it. I know that the police have worked with the BTE department up at the high school with Doug Scott, and they're often going in there and meeting with his classes, talking about solutions to first responder problems. So, do you have any update on that program? And Mike has another picture for us too.
Okay. That's great.
So when was this? Was this last?
So, yeah, there was and I can't. Yeah, Flipgrid. There it is. Yeah. So in the beginning of November, Mr. Scott started this program with Flipgrid, and it's an app that's really easy to use. And the students put together a series of questions. They each posed questions to law enforcement, and different members of the department would click on them and do a short video clip answering the question. A lot of it had to do with our equipment and our gun belt and how that impacts us over time, and what could be done to mitigate some of that impact. And one of the things that, the vest carriers, where the officers wear, they wear some of their tools on their ballistic vest. Is the purpose of that originally was done because of alleviating the strain on the hips and the back from the gun belt. So not only does it put that downward pressure on your hips, but it also makes you sit awkwardly in the car. So if we can move stuff off our back and have a good alignment and good posture, and not driving all that weight down on our hips, longevity. If you were to bring on some of your friends who have retired from the department, they'll tell you, yeah, my hips kill me. Some have had replacements, and it's a good innovation. But that's where that was born out of, and the students ate that up. And then there were some questions like faster way to reload your magazine. And I really enjoyed it. I did a few of them, and it was fun. It's easy, and Mr. Scott's amazing. I mean, we're so lucky to have him.
He is. And I was there at that program last year taking some video for Mr. Scott while I was doing it. And I'll tell you, what I really love about that is oftentimes, people in the community, you can be intimidating. You have this uniform, you got this belt that's like bigger than Batman's. I don't even know what you have in that, right? And you have the shield. Like, you can be a presence, and to see a group of you talking to the high school students about real world problems, and they're getting involved in it. They're not really saying, there's a police officer here. They're like, this is a person that, we're like working together on something. I don't want to say it like humanizes you, because, we're all humans, but it's really nice to see an interaction like that, because oftentimes people see you when they're at their worst.
That's right. And we also want them to feel comfortable calling us and calling on us. If we're somebody that just drives by in the car, there was the old professional police model and dragnet style, just the facts, ma'am. That doesn't work. No one's going to call that guy to tell him that something tragic happened to him, right? And we learned that. Well, people before my time learned that, and we moved to this community policing model. And what it's about is really just about building those relationships, gaining trust, which is everything. People need to trust that they can call you, and then to be, proximity, to be near us and see us just being us and in our uniform, to know that, you see me like this all the time, but I can put my game face on. I get a pretty strong game face, but that's not my role today, So we are trained to do that, but we also trained to be a part of the community, to engage the community, to build trust. And you know enough of the officers. That's what we look for in our officers. We look for someone who's going to be engaging, who's going to fit in the community. That's the first and foremost. We do have someone working in the building that scored the highest on our test. Yes. And all of them did really well academically and on their tests and on their interviews. But what really gets them the job is that fit,
Yeah, that's a real evolution of that. I know when I was a kid and I would go slightly above the speed limit, maybe like a police officer pulled me over. They were very serious people, and I know you have a very serious job, and I'm not belittling that. Like, in today's world, you're so different then. And it'd be really interesting to talk about it next time about this, because compared to the population, there have to be so many less of you today than there were back then, as the population has grown and everybody's sharing everything on the internet. I'm often saying, why does Reader's Digest tell these stories about what bad people are doing? Just gives other people ideas. It must be powerful. But anyway.
Well, if I could add, just the other big thing of that is, unfortunately, we see a lot of bad in people, in good people, right? We see good people at their worst day. And by having that broad range of encounters with the public, it helps us from getting jaded. In this job, if you're only seeing people in their bad days, when they're being cruel to their family, when they're whatever they're doing, right? That can make for a long career, and it can change a person. But when you go and you hang out with some high school kids and they're excited because their project is going so well, or they smile because they're just sitting talking to you, that good for the soul. That's what gets you through a career, you know?
Well, I'd like to pick that up next time because I think that is fascinating. That's a really great topic.
Yeah.
Before we wrap this up, I just want to give you an opportunity. I'm sure Mike probably has a picture for this. You send out alerts. Is there a way for people to sign up if they want to get, breaking issues from you?
Yeah, so we're really pushing the Facebook and Twitter as the mainstream for our alerts. Yep, there you go. Thanks, Mike. So that's our number one way in today's society. We do have the town-wide code red system, but we find that the social media really is our best bet. And along the lines of alert, I want to just squeak this in there. This is a campaign we started years ago. Like it, lock it, keep it.
Okay.
We did send an alert out. There is a group of young criminals that are stealing cars and breaking into cars all over Massachusetts. There's actually a task force that's been created to try to catch them. They steal the cars and bring them back to Connecticut. Friday morning after Thanksgiving, we were the victim of it. Someone stole a car in the Oakrest Road neighborhood, and they went through some other cars. Subsequently, they were involved in a foot pursuit in Hartford, and they were arrested. They don't break your stuff. They go through and steal your stuff, and if you leave your keys in your car, they'll steal it. And I'm sure they're not treating it really nice while they have it. So, just lock your doors. Lock your cars, lock your doors. It's the easiest thing you can do to not be chasing down your now battered car.
Right.
So
that happened to my first car. It was a Mustang. I love that car, and that's exactly what happened to me. So, all right, Chief, thank you. And I know we'll talk more about that on your next segment, but right now, you stick around because you're part of the Freedom team.
That's right.
Other members who are joining us for this half-hour segment, which we're going to be talking about what in the world is the Freedom team, and who's on it, and what are you doing, and what do you hope to do? So this is going to be a really good conversation too. All right, they're filing in. Let's see. Kathleen, are you? Oh, hello.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, how are you?
Good. How are you all?
Good, thanks. So welcome for being here. And actually, you know what? We got some people here. So how about each of you? Let's just run through, okay, and say hello. And if you have a particular position on the Freedom team, if you have a member or you have a title, let's just see who you are, and then we will talk about what the Freedom team is. So, Kathleen, you go first.
All right. I'm Kathleen Dinsmore, and I am the facilitator and the one who brought the Hopkinton Freedom team together.
Perfect. Dawn?
I'm Dawn Alcott Miller. I'm the director of Hopkinton Youth and Family Services, and I'm a part of the Freedom team because we thoroughly support and believe in the concept and what it's doing in the community.
Great. Cheryl?
I'm Cheryl Peralt. I'm happy to be on the Freedom team as a community member, and I am also happy to say I have connections with HCAM TV through the years, and am happy to connect the two organizations together for opportunities.
Great. Zane?
Hello, everyone. I'm Shazan Khan. I am a recent graduate of Hopkinton High School, and I don't have a specific role on the Freedom team, but recently I've been involved with helping direct the bonding activities and helping people get to know each other. So,
fantastic. Chief?
Joe Bennett, I'm your police chief. I'm really excited to be a part of the Freedom team because it is another resource that I can be part of and share with people that may have been harmed by bias, but doesn't rise to the level of a crime. So I'm really excited to be a member of this team.
Okay, welcome to you all. I'm so glad that you're here. So Kathleen, can you start us off with a little bit of history about how the Freedom Team came to exist?
So I first heard about the Freedom Team a few years ago from Jamil Adams, who created the idea of having a Freedom Team. And the first Freedom Team that he formed was in Natick, and that was around 2016. And I was very inspired by the purpose and his goal for a Freedom Team, to essentially have a group of people in place who represent many points of the community, so that if an incident arises in the town with bias, with prejudice or any sort of discrimination, that there would be a group of people there with various degrees of expertise and experiences to handle the situation, both on an individual basis and as a broader for the community. And so, as Jamil likes to say, it's essentially giving a hug to those who were harmed, and to try to bring both sides together to try to listen to one another, to be heard, and perhaps to move beyond that in a positive way, to heal the community. And so now there are 3 other Freedom Teams in the state. I hear that there are 2 more that have just recently been formed in addition to Hopkinton's. And so there's going to be a lot of collaboration among the different Freedom Teams, but also the Freedom Team is here to collaborate with a lot of the community groups here in Hopkinton, and to really move the conversation about bias and healing the division that we've been experiencing, and embracing diversity in our community.
Okay, great. Now we're going to have just general questions, and anybody who would like to can pop in and answer it. I'm curious, would you describe the Freedom Team as more reactionary to an event that has happened, or whatever the opposite of that is, or trying to prevent something, bias or something?
I'll answer it first. It's both. So it's twofold. So it's we have a hotline that was just put online with tremendous help by Chief Bennett. And so anybody in the community can call that hotline. It's confidential. And if it's not crime related, then the chief refers it to the Freedom Team. And then we decide whether we want to take on this issue. And it would be a person who has been the victim of a incident of bias. And so the Freedom Team would have 2 or 3 people who would meet with that person. So in that sense, it's reactive. But on the proactive side, we want to bring the discussion and the education to the wider community. And so that's what we were starting to do with our community connections. Is that what it's called? That we had without Metro West a couple of weeks ago, where they gave a presentation on LGBTQ plus rights. And so we're going to be having a lot more conversations about different ways that we can educate ourselves and be more welcoming of the different groups of diversity in our town.
Okay, so a couple of things you said there, really interesting. I'm sorry, Cheryl, did you want to pop in?
Oh, well, I was just going to add that the founder of the Freedom Team, Jamil Adams, he had been at HCAM Studio a couple of years ago as a feature for Wake Up and Smell the Poetry. And he was doing some of his talk there about the ideas of LIT, love, inclusion, and trust. And that is a big part of the motto, the idea behind Freedom Team as well. And for promoting those type of values for community, that also involves providing opportunity for communication, promoting understanding of one another, promoting opportunities for a community to get together and feel more bonding and bridge with one another in a variety of ways. And I think we're starting to explore that as we're all getting together from different places and being creative about that too.
Yeah. All right. So I want to talk about the proactive, Kathleen, thank you for that word. I knew it's what I was looking for the proactive aspect of the Freedom Team. I just wanted to follow up. I'm really interested. Kathleen, you said that if an issue is referred by Chief Bennett, and if the Freedom Team takes up that issue and then they meet with them, I'm assuming is them the victim, the person who suffered the act of bias? Yes, shaking your head.
Correct. Yep.
So who does that? Do you have a subset of the team, or how does that work? And what do you actually talk about with that person, and what does the Freedom Team do?
So it's based on a restorative or transformative justice model, which is completely voluntary. And so it would depend on first the experiences or expertise of the different team members and who might be best suited to talk to this person with one or two other people, and their availability and their willingness to participate. And it's really to just provide a platform in a safe and confidential and secure space that can allow the person to be heard and to know that the issue that happened to them is not just going to be brushed under the rug and forgotten. And so with the restorative justice model, the purpose is to empower the person who was harmed, to make that person feel, find a way to resolve this. And that may look just going within and finding how to, just being heard may be enough, or it may be inviting the harm doer to the conversation. And again, that's voluntary. So the harm doer, after being invited, may refuse to participate, or may choose to participate. And so it just moves from there.
Okay, thank you. Now, a lot of talk I have heard in media and community about starting conversations. And when I look at that, I see two aspects. And I'm curious for your thoughts on this. I see there being said we need to have a difficult conversation, and I also see we need to have events where we can come together and just share our lives together. So who has any thoughts on that?
I can speak a little to that. I believe that the latter, they serve two different purposes, in my mind at least. So the latter serves the purpose of increasing the cohesion of the community, in that you'd be able to eventually have those hard discussions relatively easier as opposed to talking with complete strangers. It also gives a platform for a lot of people who've historically been hesitant to have their opinions known, to have those opinions known and to share those opinions, and to also engage with other people so that you can eventually have those more difficult discussions and conversations and come to terms with what the reality of the situation in our country, in our community, in our lives, and in our families are right now.
So you see the events coming first. We get to know each other, we become comfortable with each other, and then we can go to a deeper relationship and a more serious conversation about what our society is standing for.
Absolutely. I mean, there's again many ways to look at it because it's truly a multifaceted idea, but that's the linear way of looking at it. But these conversations are also these you can have conversations happening outside of these events with people who are different stages of relationships with each other. So it's really a combination of a linear relationship with a parallel relationship. So it's just that sort of dynamic is, in my opinion, very beautiful. And in order to really encourage that dynamic and in order to really make that dynamic more apparent and more present in Hopkinton, events would definitely be necessary. And I do think that those are definitely important first steps to leading to the more later stages of what social justice is.
Okay. Don, can you speak to me about why you're on the Freedom Team and what your passion here is?
Sure. I'm a collaborator at heart, and I think that Hopkinton Youth and Family Services has been seeking to get to know different aspects of the community that don't always make a connection, and also to serve well with the social justice model that we have, and to always be culturally sensitive and humble and wise in our dealings with others. And I think that there's no lack of things we need to learn about each other and other people. We haven't arrived. We don't know what there is to know. There's always curiosity and inquisitiveness, and that joy of getting to know people for who they really are. I think that's a privilege of the work that I do, that I get to know, but people in very deep ways. But the idea of people being free to be themselves, and so that others have that joy too. I like that idea too. So, and to give young people room and a platform from which to share about their own experiences, and the ability to advocate and to have self-advocacy around things that have gone wrong and things that have been incredibly hurtful, disturbing, and wrong. And to be able to say, look, this happened to me, and I want a different community. And it's the young people that shift our communities often. And so to give them that power, that voice, and to have safe adults to go to who share in wanting a better environment for them, and to be able to journey beside them, and so that they can look to different people in the community and say, I have an ally here. And if something does happen, I can go to them and I can, pick their brain about how to handle it and not have to do this all alone.
That's great. I just want to say that in my life, I have been fortunate enough to be able to be myself. And when I hear you talk about people who don't have a space or don't have the opportunity to be themselves, I personally find that is one of the most problematic things about our society, that people would have to be in a space that they cannot be themselves, especially for younger people. It's unconscionable. So I really applaud the work that you're doing. Chief, why are you on the Freedom Team? I know you're the provider of the hotline. So what do you look at the Freedom Team and become excited about? Oh, you're muted. Thank you for muting when you weren't speaking.
Well, I had a windstorm going on in the back of my office here, and everything was flying off the windowsill. Personally, I'll stop personally. For me, just being around this group of people and being able to engage in conversation and learn and progress on my journey, and to be able to speak in a safe space has been so helpful for me. I view the Freedom Team as just another, if I can bring something small to this team, really what they do is way beyond me and what I can offer, other than the hotline. And I mentioned the hotline. I want anybody that's thinking about calling to know it rings on my phone. So no one else will hear it. If it gets referred out and it doesn't get investigated, it won't become part of any police record or document or anything. It'll simply be a phone call from me to the team, and they'll contact you. But I'm also here for you if you want to talk to me. But yeah, I just want to be some small way participate and add something. But for so far, it's been me learning and growing with this team. And I want, while I have you guys here, say thank you.
All right, so Mike's going to share Holland Ready. So we have our own bat phone right to Chief Bennett. That is amazing. That is amazing. All right, so there it is on. Let's see. This is the town's website. Okay. All right, thank you, Mike. Now, that's great, Chief. Now I'm going to Cheryl. Cheryl is a person of words. And so I wanted to ask her if you would mind sharing a little bit about what you see yourself contributing to as part of the team of the Freedom Team.
I think personally, I come with a lot of stories myself from my life and where I grew up, and with family who were wired in their minds not to be as inclusive minded towards different groups of people, and have grown up with a particular type of religion as a child, and different subgroups where I learned a lot about polarization as a child. And then growing up and becoming involved in psychology and working with children and families, and then going into the arts and community arts and healing arts. And most recently, in the area of storytelling, true storytelling, I see how all of these intersect for me, that I can have an awareness that we all come from different life stories and experiences and contexts of where we're born. And that feeds into misunderstandings sometimes that begin as early as childhood. And that we need more opportunities for listening and growing our awareness and understanding of one another in this world, especially now. And I've come to see how powerful, in particular, the arts and the community arts are. And I saw that happen at HCAM Studios for 14 years with programs like Wake Up and Smell the Poetry, where people could come with very different lifestyles and experiences and way of looking at the world and represent themselves and be authentic and say, here I am, here's my art, here's my story. And I learned a great deal as a host of that, as well as the other satellite programs I got involved with through the years. And so I feel you know, as I said, I'm an individual from the boomer generation now, as a part of the team. And I'm from psychology background, working with children and families, and also the community arts, and knowing a lot of different community people. I know there are so many stories, and we really need to better understand one another and have more opportunities to talk and listen.
That's great. And by the way, you're in boomer generation. I'm actually Generation X, which drives my daughter insane that I'm not a boomer. Now, Kathleen, I'm going to show your website for a quick minute. I'm interested, how big is your team? Are you looking for more members? And how would you recommend people get in touch with you?
Okay, yeah, so this is our website, and Shazan was one of the creators of our logo. with the tree and the message behind that. Currently, we have about 20 members. As I said before, they reach different aspects of the community. And that is essentially our core group. We are still looking for a few more members to reach out to in case we have incidents of bias that come up that we feel could only help as we handle those situations. But we are opening the group up to general membership, where they would be part of our mailing list of resources that we want to share. As Chief Bennett had said, a lot of this work is looking in the mirror and really trying to push ourselves into these difficult topics and finding out where we stand. And so a lot of the membership would be being part of that mailing list of the resources that we can share and offer, helping out with organizing various events or coming up with ideas for events, for fundraising, that sort of thing. So at this moment, we would invite anyone to go onto our website, which is hopkintonfreedomteam.org, and filling out a pledge about what you want to do in terms of furthering social justice and welcoming diversity. And it can be a small thing or it can be a larger thing. And get involved, no matter how insignificant you think it is. It really is significant because the ripple effect reverberates. And eventually we'd like to have everyone in our town become a member of the Freedom Team and be part of this conversation.
Excellent. And we only have a couple minutes left. Does anybody have anything they'd like to mention about an upcoming event or an upcoming activity or something that you're looking forward to the Freedom Team being a part of?
What is it? Well, we have several things that are kind of simmering that we're trying to organize, but we're looking to have a speaker or some sort of event on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and collaborating with one of the groups in town for that. And we are going to be having stories from immigrants, hopefully in the spring. All of these are still in the planning stages, but as Cheryl said, it's really a matter of sitting down and hearing one another's stories and listening and trying to foster more understanding. And we got good reception from our event without Metro West. And so there have been other topics that people would like to see us present. So we're certainly looking into that, but we're all about collaboration. And so we would love to work with like-minded organizations and individuals in our community and offer as many programs and difficult conversations as we can.
I would also, sorry to interrupt, I would also remind everyone that South Asian Circle of Hopkinton is currently, I believe, in the middle of their Hopkinton Lights Up as One event. And I encourage everyone to partake in whatever manner they can, whether that be lighting up your house as you would for the holidays, or just having a light in your heart and just trying to enlighten yourself, no matter speaking about the various cultural celebrations that have happened or are happening right now. And
is there more information?
Zane, can I jump in? Can I jump in?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I asked this question so I know the answer, but is there a wrong way to celebrate the light up event that we're in right now? Without writing words, but like white lights are okay, colored lights are okay, whatever you, right?
I
Like
mean,
my station, I use blue in my police station, right? It's
Anything-
yeah,
don't
I
be
couldn't
nervous.
imagine any sort of issues. So I encourage just light in general. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, we are completely out of time. Thank you all for being here. I really look forward to having you all back and talking about more of your activities. So I appreciate the work you do for our community. Thank you for watching Hangout
Thank
Hour.
you.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jim.